So if you've got our book, we're on page 104 of our book. We're going to do the very first steps of our banana vanilla extract. And you'll notice, obviously, the theme in our book is there's a vanilla bean in just about everything we do, right?
Yes, and here's the thing also, that if you just want banana, you can leave the vanilla out. I don't know why you want to do that, because I'm crazy about vanilla. But if you just want the banana, or you just want orange or pecan, you're welcome to leave the vanilla out. That's up to you. It's an art.
It's an art. We
Extracting
like vanilla
is an art.
because vanilla as a binder brings the vodka. It adds like a smoothness between the vodka or the spirit that you're using and whatever it is that you're extracting. So
Yes.
we're fans, but it's all up to you as you dive in. So let's dive in.
Okay,
Banana
so
extract. Here we go.
Really is like a super, super easy extract. It only has 3 ingredients. We've got 1 pompona bean from Peru. This is a Rioja. Check that baby out. It is huge. When we slice into that, there's going to be just so much caviar that's going to go into your extract. And it's such a wonderful flavor. It already has kind of this big banana flavor to it. So it adds just so much to the bananas. It's wonderful.
Pompona beans with bananas as well as Ugandan beans are a great choice because they have that figgy, banana-y undertone. And they're all different sizes. Everyone's like, well, it's all Pompona that size? No, the Peruvian Pompona are the biggest that we offer. When you get to the Mexican Pompona, they're a lot smaller. We have, and nobody knows this yet, but we have a Ugandan Pompona that we're going to get our first samples of here in the next 2 weeks or so that we're really hopeful that we can introduce to you soon. But they're all going to be a little smaller than the Rioja, than the Peruvian Pompona.
Yeah, but they're all a little fatter.
But they're all fatter. They all have more caviar. And again, that's why we sell by weight and not bean count. So if you get an ounce of Rioja and an ounce of Mexican Oaxaca Pompona beans, you're always getting the same amount. But it's a beautiful bean and a fun one to work with for sure. We always smile when we're playing around with the Peruvian Pompona beans.
Okay, so I'm just going to start with the first ingredient is this Pompona bean. I'm going to cut it just down the middle. And then I'm going to cut it in thirds just so it fits really nicely into my jar. Now, if you want to get the caviar out, you could open it up and then slide your knife through. But as this extracts and the vodka starts to infuse, the pods are just going to come out on their own. So I don't really bother with that step anymore.
We love the caviar, right?
Oh.
We love like a extract with a bunch of caviar at the bottom. We shake it up and we use it because we love the vanilla specks. But maybe before you put that last one in, open it up under the camera.
Oh, so you can see, definitely.
The Pompona, because it's so much fun. It's, it sticks to your fingers.
Yeah, here, and I will scrape just so you can kind of see.
Yeah, they're a wonderful bean to play around with, and they give
all of that caviar there, and I've lost some of it here. I don't want to waste any of it.
So you get lots of uses out of these beans. In addition to them as a sweetener with the extract, you've got the caviar that we can play with later, and then all the things that we do with our beans when we're done with the extract.
Yes, and I've made a strawberry liqueur with these beans and added it to lemonade for a nice little refreshing Easter drink or something in the summer. These beans, you can just add to so many things.
The speckles in little cocktails have actually been quite fun. People love them, right? Yeah. Another thing that can be used.
Yep. So just 1 bean. That's a very large bean. So we don't need any more beans. This is kind of more of a binder than this is banana forward. And then the vanilla acts as a binder to add that the smoothness like Paul was talking about. Okay, so we've got our vanilla, and now we've got 1 ounce of dehydrated bananas. Now you can use dehydrated. Did I just say dehydrated?
You did. Freeze-dried.
Freeze-dried. Sorry. You can use freeze-dried or dehydrated. Both will work. Some of them are it's just a little bit different.
Yeah. So the difference really between freeze-dried and dehydrated, there's a couple of big ones. So one, when you freeze-dry bananas, you're not applying any heat. And so the benefit of freeze-drying is that it preserves a lot of the flavor compounds that are inside the banana and takes almost all the moisture out. So that's one of the pros of freeze-dried bananas. They're super dry. They break when you drop them. So when they arrive, they're crumbly, which is just fine. They're still bananas, even if there's crumbs, they can still be extracted as long as you're weighing them, like what we're going to talk about here. It's not about volume; it's about weight. And so, in terms of using freeze dry and extract, we love it because it to us seems like it's the closest to like a natural vanilla taste. Now, dehydrated also works, but with dehydrated, you're applying sometimes a little more heat. Anytime you apply heat to a process, you're going to change the flavor compounds just a little bit. The other challenge with dehydrated is it doesn't pull as much moisture out as freeze dried. And that's why the dehydrated chips, they might bend a little bit, or they could still be crunchy, but they kind of hold their form a little bit more. There's just still a little bit of moisture inside of them that doesn't exist on the freeze dry side. And so, but they also work, but because there's a little more moisture, you just want to make sure that you're starting with an alcohol that has an alcohol content of, say, at least 40%, because you're going to introduce moisture from the dehydrated products into the alcohol. It's going to dilute it a little bit. And you'll remember, all of you pros that are here, and for the new people that aren't, we always want to make sure that our alcohol content when we're extracting is at the very least 35%. And at the very most 50%, which is 70 proof to 100 proof. So anytime you're using dehydrated instead of freeze dried, you're introducing just a little bit more moisture than you would with freeze dried. So you just want to make sure that you're using, you're starting at like a 40%. If you're starting at a 35, you might dip, or you will dip below that 35% mark when you dilute it with the moisture from the fruit. So that's the back and forth. Is there a huge difference? I don't know for extract making that we've seen. Like, we've made them with both dehydrated and freeze dried. I don't know that there's a significant difference, but we tend to like freeze dried just because heat isn't used and they're drier. And so you have more flexibility with the alcohol. You're not worried about dilution rate. It's just kind of a little easier to manage. But the downside of freeze dried, they crumble, they get turned into powder. They're really kind of hard to maintain. You put them in a can, they still break. Put them in a bag, they break. But those crumbs are still bananas and they can still be extracted. And then when you get rid of them, you just pour it through a coffee filter and it'll all come out anyway.
Yeah. And there's also a price difference as well.
Yes.
The freeze dried is more expensive. And I know a lot of people will have dehydrators in their home or dehydrate fruit. And it's a lot more affordable. And so if you have the ability to do that, it saves you money.
It does. So both are great. Use dehydrated. If you've got dehydrated, just remember that alcohol content. Your head start at least 40%, so you're not going to dilute everything too much.
And the average vodka out there is 40%. So it's not like you have to go searching. Just make sure when you find it, look on the bottle, and like we're using this Kettle One today, right? Yep. And it's it'll save.
It says, I think, right on the front down here. There it is.
40%. Right there. But the average vodka does have 40%, so it's not going to be hard to find.
Yeah. So there you go. There's our tangent on freeze dried versus dehydrated, because that's a question that comes up all the time.
In our group, a lot of people will ask that, so we want to make sure we go over that. Okay, so we talked about weighing these. Because these are freeze dried, like we said, they can become very crumbly, so you want to make sure that you're getting the same amount. So this right here, I have in a bowl, and I've got a 1 cup measurement because I want you to see how much 1 ounce actually really is. So I'm going to zero out my scale here, and I'm just going to put these in. This is about 1 ounce, but it's not quite a cup, right? So you'd want to make sure that you're going to weigh it, because it's volume versus weight. You need to make sure that you're getting an actual 1 ounce instead of 1 cup volume.
Yep.
Okay, so we're just going to take these and pour these into our jar. And then the last thing is we're going to add just 8 ounces of this Kettle One vodka. It is a middle of the shelf vodka. It's a national brand. You can find this just about anywhere. And it's good, middle of the road, don't you think? Yeah,
we have all these things. If you go to our website, we have a top 10 list of our top 10 favorite vodkas, rums, bourbons, alcohol generally, whiskeys. We're going to add one for brandy. We may add one for tequila, because more and more people are using tequila. But broadly speaking, your first time going to a liquor store, you don't have to go to the top shelf. Yeah, but we always say, be careful of the bottom shelf, because we've had bad experiences with bourbon on the bottom shelf. Middle of the shelf stuff is fine. Kettle One, super affordable, great vodka. Tito's is a popular one. Kirtland out of Costco is a fantastic vodka, and you can get 750 milliliters for like $13 or $18. So
yeah, that's nice.
Good vodka.
Yeah,
this is a good vodka. We like Kettle One.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm just going to pour in my 8 ounces of vodka. Now they're kind of sticking out of the top. I have this fermentation weight that I like to use to kind of push things down. If you're using a mason jar, they fit perfectly in here. They sell these on Amazon. You can find them, I think, at Walmart. But you kind of just push that in, and then it pushes everything down to the bottom. Now, if you don't have a fermentation weight, it's okay. Once the vodka gets absorbed into the bananas, they'll start to sink. And, you might have a few pieces poking out of the top, but for the most part, you're just going to be fine. Also, if you use a smaller neck of a jar, there's less surface area for it to poke up. So if you don't have a fermentation weight, you can always just use a smaller neck, and there won't be, an area for it to pop up.
Yeah, and another benefit, if you're using freeze dry, you can crack the product. So if they're not fitting in the small neck, you can just crack them in half, like in the case of the bananas. It'll all go down there, and you'll be good to go.
Yeah.
The other question people ask is, well, in the time that it's floating on top, is it going to mold? And with the freeze dried and dehydrated, they both do this. They really absorb the alcohol quickly. So no, they're going to absorb that alcohol. They're going to start sinking. We've never had an instance where we've had mold form on any of our fruit that's been floating on top as it's waiting to go down. They don't go bad. There's just so much alcohol in the vodka that you're going to be just fine.
Yeah, so I did want to show you this. This is a banana extract that I started at the beginning of January. I always like to put my start date on the bottom of the jar. And then this was made with Madagascar and Svedka vodka. And then it will be ready on the 3rd of April. But I wanted you to kind of see what it looks like. This will be changed out in about, a few more weeks. You can see the vanilla beans in there. But when I shake it like this, nothing is poking out anymore. But when I first put it in, it kind of floated to the top. So just give it time and it'll be just fine.
And it's interesting just to see, this is what you're going to see, as you get towards the end. So these banana chips were just put in at the beginning. This was our last change out. These were put in at the beginning of the month. Mm-hmm. We're going to pull them out in April and we'll be done. And that's sort of the color that you're going to get and what you're looking for. Mm-hmm. And the smell already is pretty nice.
You can see all the little
the caviar.
The caviar flecks in it.
Yep. So that's what you'll be getting at. It's not like the prettiest extract of them all. Not that there is any such thing as not a pretty extract. There's no such.
Oh, it'll be
they're
beautiful.
all beautiful. But the colors on this one, it's not like the dark, rich amber. It's kind of got, like a grayish color that's a little different from the other extracts.
Well, and when you can put this through a coffee filter, and all of the little, there's little fibers come off of the banana. So if you put it through a coffee filter, it'll be completely clear if that's what you're looking for. But it will get out some of those vanilla specks too.
Yeah, and we like the vanilla specks, and we like the oils and everything that are in, that color. It's fine. Yeah. There's no such thing as an ugly extract. I said that wrong.
You kind of did.
I kind of did. There's
goodness.
No such thing as an ugly extract. It's like your children.
Yeah.
Every child. Is that another bad example? I'm batting 1,000. Oh no. Edit.
We love our children equally.
They're equally beautiful.
Well, on that note,
let's see if there's any questions from the crowd. Are there any questions that we can answer about the banana extract?
Also, if you've made this, what have you put in it? What have you added to it? What have you baked with it? Have you had any problems with it that you had to kind of troubleshoot? We want to know it all.
Sure. Our favorite use is obviously banana bread, which is like our boys love banana bread. So that's the go-to natural use for our banana extract that we just can't get enough of, right? But go ahead, Did. Are there any questions or comments?
Well, I think you must have done a good job of answering all the questions along the way. None have come in just yet, but
awesome. We have been listening. We've had our ear to the ground on a lot of these questions in our group, so I'm glad that that's the case.
Yeah. Constance has just asked a question here. How many change outs do you anticipate to get a good strong banana extract?
3, right? is it three
Yep.
that we're doing on the, I've got all three of these in my head. I was thinking
Yep.
pecan, but 3 change outs of the banana.
Yeah, 3 change outs. And, you know, when we first started doing this, we would like to do taste tests after each month. We knew after 1 month it wouldn't be ready, but it was kind of a fun experiment for us to taste the process between each change out. If it's not strong enough for you and you would like it even more, you can continue to change out. And that's why it's important to kind of taste test each change out, because you know, again, it's pricey if you're using freeze-dried bananas, and if you've got so many change outs, you know, you want to make sure that it's worth it, right?
Absolutely. And then we will, like on this one, next month in our next class, that's on April 16th, we'll bring back the banana and we're going to do our first change out, so you can see how that happens, how we manage like the absorption of the alcohol, because that happens. All these different things we're going to go through. And so you'll watch the life of this extract and all the others that we're making from start to finish. So come back next month and we'll show you how to do the first. And then every extract is different from the other. So like you said, if you like it after 2, you're done.
Yeah.
If you don't like it after 3 and you want to go another round, go another round.
Yep.
Totally. Great question.
Okay, so the last thing is organizing.
I think Deb had one
sorry.
more question. Yeah.
Oh, I was just going to say that was actually Connie asking that question, and she says, thank you so much. And
Oh, thank you, Connie. Glad you could make it.
yeah, and we've got a couple of people saying banana pudding. They like to use their banana extract
Oh,
in.
yes.
And cream pie, banana cream pie.
For sure. Ice creams in the sun. I mean, any of those sort of fruit-based, cream-based desserts, they're fantastic.
Yep.
So, okay. So
Okay,
now it's sticker time, right?
Yep. So this is something that's really important with extracting, is just the organization of it, trying to keep track. In the back of our book, we have a place to write your recipes. There's a journal back there, several pages. So you can write things down. I use masking tape because I hate stickers. And this comes on and off the jars very easily, especially when you have change outs, you're pulling things off, putting them back on. So I believe that, you know, not everything has to be pretty in the beginning. You know, if you want to decant this into a pretty jar when it's finished and put pretty labels on and then gift it, you're welcome to. But when I'm busy, I just need to know what step I'm on and have it be easy. So this masking tape is so easy. So I'm going to write right here. I've got my change out. So I know I can just look at it very quickly and I can see, okay, I need to do something here in April 19th. I need to do another change out of bananas. I also like to write the number, the page number of the book, so I don't have to go looking for it. I just can open it really quickly. It's just something I like to do. And then also the date I start always goes on the bottom. I never have to change that. And so now I just put this in a cupboard that's cool and dark, and I let it do its thing.
Yep.
Pretty easy.
Pretty easy. You know, you make it look easy.
It is easy. Let's not lie.
I know that's what got us into this mess, right? It's easy to do one. It's really hard when you have like 100, and then keeping them all organized becomes actually the challenge of extract making. Each individual one isn't too hard, but all of a sudden you've got a cabinet full of so many flavors, and it's how do you organize them. So on our website, if you go to the extract making section of VanillaPura, there's all those free guides. Towards the bottom, I think there's a free journal, so you can just print it out. It's in PDF, and so you can grab it, print out as many pages as you want, because you do forget. We had this as we were preparing for this live. We forget what vodkas we use. And then if we need to top off, then that is like, well, what vodka would we use for this one? And so that would be like another sticker. But if you had stickers for everything, it wouldn't fit on the jar. So at some point, if you need a journal, we've got it for you. It's free. It's in the back of our book as well. There's a bunch of free journal pages. And the one that's on our website is like the one in the back of the book.
Yeah. So, and if I just go along with the recipe in the book, I don't, you know, I don't feel like I have to put too much on because I'm just following that recipe. But if you make any changes, like you want to wait longer, or you want to put more banana in, or you want to put more vanilla in, you'll want to make that note, because you won't remember what you did, and it'll be fabulous, and you won't be able to recreate it. That happens all the time.
There we go. Love it. Okay, so that's banana extract. So come back next month and we'll do our first change out. We'll show you how that works, what to do with absorption, all those other things we'll talk about when we get into the next month.